Yeah, it's really lovely to be able to experience all of this virtually. But I have to tell you, I've been missing my books. I've been missing my library. And so I've started coming in to prepare for things. And as you see, I have a bunch of books here that I'm going to share with you because they're my friends. And all of our spiritual inspiration, whether it's music or sayings or poems or things that we read, remind us of this deep and profound truth that we are connected, that we are one. Every spiritual tradition actually talks about this in its mystical strain. And out of that connection comes this deep understanding that we're also creative. That this dance of oneness and creativity is constantly going on. And so as we think about our theme for the year and our theme for January, Together We Rise. Together we rise. 2 weeks ago, we talked about that we rise through spirit. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how we rise through creativity and we rise through connection. That these are deep and profound truths about us that we can rely on, that can be the very ground upon which we stand, the wind beneath our wings, that which lifts us into the truth of our lives and to really express this beautiful dance that's going on. So I want to begin with this poem from Oriah Mountain Dreamer. You may be familiar with her poetry from The Invitation. She also wrote one called The Call. This one is called The Dance. I've sent you my invitation, the note inscribed on the palm of my hand by the fire of living. Don't jump up and shout, "Yes, this is what I want, let's do it." Rather, just stand up quietly and dance with me. Show me how you follow your deepest desires, spiraling down into the ache within the ache. And I will show you how I reach inward and open upward to feel the kiss of the mystery, sweet lips on my own, every day. Don't tell me you want to hold the whole world in your heart. Show me how you turn away from making another wrong without abandoning yourself when you are hurt and afraid of being unloved. Tell me a story of who you are and see who I am in the stories I am living. And together we will remember that each of us always has a choice. Don't tell me how wonderful things will be someday. Show me you can risk being completely at peace, truly okay with the way things are right now, in this moment, and again in the next, and the next, and the next. I have heard enough warrior stories of heroic daring. Tell me how you crumble when you hit the wall, the place you cannot go beyond by the strength of your own will. What carries you to the other side of that wall, to the fragile beauty of your own humanness? And after we have shown each other how we have set and kept the clear, healthy boundaries that help us live side by side with each other, let us risk remembering that we never stop silently loving those we have once loved out loud. Take me to the places on the earth that teach you how to dance, the places where you can risk letting this world break your heart. And I will take you to the places where the earth beneath my feet and the stars overhead make my heart whole again and again. Show me how you take care of business without letting business determine who you are. And when the children are fed, but still the voices within and around us shout that soul's desires have too high a price, let us remind each other that it is never about the money. Show me how you offer to your people and the world the stories and the songs you want our children's children to remember. And I will show you how I struggle, not to change the world, but to love it. Sit beside me in long moments of shared solitude, knowing both our absolute aloneness and our undeniable belonging. Dance with me in the silence and in the sound of small daily words, holding neither against me at the end of the day. And when the sound of all the declarations of our sincerest intentions have died away on the wind, dance with me in the infinite pauses before the next great inhale of the breath that is breathing us all into being, not filling the emptiness from without or from within. Don't say yes, just take my hand and dance with me. I think this is what we are doing every moment of every day, is dancing with creation. We're dancing with each other. We're dancing with life. We're dancing with that co-creative power that is seeking to express itself as us in the dance of creativity and creation. And I can't tell you how many people I hear say, "Oh, I'm not creative," except that we're doing it every day. We're doing it every day. We're creating lives. We're creating lives out of our desire to express and our willingness to listen. Our desire to be and our willingness to become. This is the dance of creativity. This is what I don't know about you, but this is what I've been trying to practice all this last almost a year now, right? Almost a year. The dance of this is the circumstance. How do I show up? This is the situation. What do I choose? Here are my options. Here's what I can do. How do I move forward? Do you see, we're always in this co-creative dance. And I have watched so many of you take up this pandemic in truly extraordinary and creative ways. Dealing with solitude and isolation and loneliness, figuring out how to work at home, how to have crazy, weird Christmases and birthday parties, and entirely new ways of expressing our connection and our work, even to JD and Jan filming songs and emailing them to us so we could play them for you over Facebook and YouTube. Right? I mean, that's just extraordinary creativity. A year ago, we would never even have thought that that was possible. A year ago, there were so many things we wouldn't have known that we could learn and do and truthfully create in our own lives. You've been doing that all along. I want to share with you this quote from Aretha Franklin. She says this, "They call me Lady of Soul. So let me tell you something about soul. Soul is something creative, something active. Soul is honesty. I sing to people about what matters. I sing to the realists, people who accept it like it is. I express problems. There are tears when it's sad and smiles when it's happy. It seems simple to me, but to some, feelings take courage." Right? We've been dealing with all of that for almost a year. And to have dug deep into our own souls with creativity and honesty and to express what it is that we have to express. This is what has carried us through this time. And it is on this that we rise. Together we rise because we are creative, not always artistic, but we're always creative. So I really got to thinking about, if soul is creativity and activity and honesty, I thought, well, what is that? What is that ability to be so creative that allows us to engage with craziness in the world and give our gift and come out stronger? And I thought, well, there's two things. The first thing is the ability to imagine. We have the ability to imagine something new, something different from the way it's been, right? We've had to do that with all the ways in which we've imagined how to stay connected despite the fact that we've been socially distancing, how to do our work and share our creativity and our music and our art and all be active in the world in all the different ways that we've been. right? We've had to reimagine our entire lives in some cases. And this is a profound example of the extraordinary creativity that is right here, that is available to each and every one of us all the time, all the time. You know, scientists have been long trying to figure out what's the difference between a human being and all the other animal kingdom, of which, of course, we are a part. We are a part of that. And they've suggested all kinds of things, and in each case, they have found other animals that do something similar or that feel something similar, express similarly, except for one thing. One thing. And that is the ability to imagine something completely different than the current experience. That's where our creativity lies. And the other place that it lies is in our flexibility to respond to changing experiences. Because, boy, have they changed, haven't they? Holy mackerel. To respond to changing experiences, right? That's the realist in us, to say, well, this is what is. So this is what is. So how do we respond to it from a creative, engaged way that reminds us that actually we're a part of what's going on? The opposite of that flexibility is, of course, resistance. Our unwillingness for things to be different, to change, to be different than the idea that we had or the thought we had about how it was unfolding or the place we were going or the this is our tradition, we always have Christmas this way, we always do this thing, right? Resistance is the opposite of flexibility. And flexibility really allows our creativity to unfurl its wings and to express in a whole new way. And it allows us to dance with our circumstances instead of trying to either control them or resign to them. So imagination and flexibility are the two ways in which we really get a hold of this idea that creativity is the truth of our very nature. So you may not know, maybe you haven't seen it. You know, I used to write all these articles for The Pulse, which was our handout, our little newsletter. You can always find those articles now on our website, CSLDallas.org. If you go to what's happening this month, that article is there. And if you get our monthly study guide, if you're in a study group or a sangha or a circle and you get our monthly study guide, that article is also always there. That's a plug, by the way, for getting into one of those. So this is what I wrote about creativity for this month. We rise through creativity. Co-creation is our birthright. Consciousness is our inheritance. Creativity is the tool. Imagination is where it all begins. Opening to the wellspring of creativity, which is the wisdom and guidance of universal intelligence pouring in, through, and as each of us, allows us to raise our lives up. Whenever we are rising out of chaos, confusion, fear, limitation, and lack, or whether we are rising up from good to better, or okay to great, the very creativity of the universe is moving when we dream our dream, set our intention, and decide to act as if it were already manifest. This is the dance of being and becoming, right? The absolute essence of our true nature seeking to express itself. And then the becoming is the flowering of that into form, and all of the different forms and avenues and possibilities and ways in which the being of life as us then shows up in the world. This is the heart of our creativity. And I want to say it again. You don't have to go to school to get this. You don't have to become something other than who you are right now in this very moment. All of that is already available right where we are. It is our true self. This is the dance of being and becoming. And as we do this dance, we are an extraordinary blessing. We're a blessing to our own lives. We're a blessing to others. We're a blessing to all of creation. This was written by the editors of the Indian country the magazine Indian Country Today. We are the people who bless being, or all existence, and are blessed by being. Saying we give blessings means that we appreciate, understand, and respect the earth and the universe, both physically and spiritually. We give meaning to being, to the universe, by our self-conscious acts of ceremony, blessings, and respect. I would add creativity. This worldview differs sharply with some Western philosophical positions known as materialism, where the universe is believed to have no significant meaning or purpose for humans. We can continue on that line of thought by saying we are the people who bless becoming. Becoming is the pattern of change and the direction of the universe. Becoming is similar to what many indigenous people understand as the Great Spirit. We are the people who believe there is a plan and purpose to the unfolding of the universe, or becoming. Individuals are part of the overall becoming of the universe, and therefore individuals and nations play a role or purpose in the process of becoming. Do you see, that's the creativity. That's the co-creation part of our creativity. That in our expression of our creativity, in all the creative ways in which we respond to what's going on, do you see, that's what's called co-creation. We are becoming a new becoming, for lack of a better way of saying it, right? Our beingness is showing up in a new becoming, which becomes a blessing because we aren't in resistance. We aren't resigned. We aren't resigning ourselves. We aren't turning our back on things. We aren't wishing that it would go back to the way it was, but we're creatively and flexibly blessing life because we are unfolding the becomingness that is seeking to be us in a whole new way. Do you see? And then we're in the process of co-creation. The universe can only take it so far. The universe can manage the universe, but it can only take it so far. Each one of us with our individual expression of the uniqueness of how we take it up, the creative way in which we take up life. Do you see? We are providing that new space, that new avenue, that creative expression. This is the dance of being and becoming. This is the dance I think we're always being invited into. Our part of the dance is to say what? What does that new form look like? What does that new way, creative outcome, what might it look like or feel like or seem like? And then it's the universe's job to figure out how to bring that about. And then it's our job to dance with the universe as it's bringing it about, flexibly and creatively responding to the new ideas. Do you see? It's all a dance. Sometimes we're leading, sometimes the universe is leading. And the whole point, as we read in this beautiful passage, the whole point, Sri Aurobindo tells us, is for the delight of the divine. That's its purpose. The whole point is for the delight of the divine. Your life, the way in which you express your life, the unique and precious creativity that you have in every aspect of your life, is for the delight of life, so that it can be more, because you're more. This is right here, right where we are. And it is from this place that we can rise through anything. We can rise from anything, just as we are today. As we engage in this dance, we are reminded that the being and the becoming, the universal and the individual, the expression that I am and the expression that you are, it's all part of the whole. It's all part of the one. We are all connected in the oneness. We are all connected in the oneness. And this is the other place when we think about rising together that gives us courage and strength and a profound place to stand. that we're all connected. That we are, in fact, one. So I'm going to share with you this study that I found in Scientific American magazine. The title of the article is, "What Would Happen If Everyone Truly Believed That Everything is One?" Because this has something that they've been studying now over the last, 5 or 10 years. So the article starts out with these two fabulous quotes. One from Albert Einstein. "We experience ourselves, our thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest. A kind of optical delusion of consciousness." Albert Einstein. Separation is a delusion of consciousness. And the Dalai Lama says this: "In our quest for happiness and the avoidance of suffering, we are all fundamentally the same and therefore equal. Despite the characteristics that differentiate us, race, language, religion, gender, wealth, and many others, we are all equal in terms of our basic humanity." From the Dalai Lama. And in the basic belief and understanding that we are actually part of a whole, a oneness that is the very truth of the universe itself. So here's what this article goes on to say. "The belief that everything in the universe is part of some fundamental whole exists throughout many cultures and philosophical, religious, and spiritual and scientific traditions, as captured by the phrase, 'all that is,' which they use in philosophy and science. The Nobel winner Schrödinger once observed that quantum physics is compatible with the notion that there is indeed a basic oneness of the universe. Therefore, despite it seeming as though the world is full of many divisions, many people throughout the course of human history and today believe that individual things are part of some fundamental identity." Actually, it goes all the way back to the pre-Socratics. There was the big, split in the pre-Socratics. Is it all one thing happening and everything is an expression of that? Or is it all these individual materialistic little specks of something that are randomly making the universe? That goes back to 1000, 2000 BCE in the Western tradition. So they did these studies and asked people, do you think about oneness? Do you believe in oneness? Do you think we're all part of a whole? And a quarter of the population has this as a fundamental belief, a fundamental understanding of life itself. And so then they created a ranked set of questions for those people, and those people who scored high on that scale of believing in oneness and having that as fundamental to their belief system. So it goes on to say this: "Those who scored higher on this scale were much more likely to have an identity that extends beyond the individual, to encompass wider aspects of humankind, life, nature, and even the cosmos. They found that a belief in oneness was related to values indicating a universal concern for the welfare of others, as well as greater compassion for others. A belief in oneness was also associated with feeling connected to others through a recognition of our common humanity, common problems, and common imperfections. At the same time, there was no relationship between a belief in oneness and whether or not people endorsed self-responsibility and self-focused values such as direction, security, or achievement. This means that people can have a belief in oneness and still have a great deal of self-care, healthy boundaries, and self-direction in life. Hence, the CSL vision, a world that works for everyone and a life that works for me. These are not mutually exclusive in any way, shape, or form. It actually shows that the more oneness we experience, the more we extend out from ourselves beyond just what we ourselves need to a larger expression. So I want to read you one more thing. This is from a Latina activist. I will tell you her name. Ana Louise Keating, she's a Latina scholar and activist. She writes this: unlike New Age versions of spirituality, which focus almost exclusively on the personal, so that goals become acquiring increased wealth, a good life, or other materialistic items, spiritual activism begins with the personal, yet moves outward, acknowledging our radical interconnectedness. This is spirituality for social change. Spirituality that recognizes the many differences among us, yet insists on our commonalities and uses these commonalities as catalysts for transformation. What a contrast. What a contrast. While identity politics requires holding on to specific categories of identity, spiritual activism demands that we let them go. That we let them go. It's no longer us and them or the other or somebody else out there that we have opinions and judgments about. It's a recognition that the radical oneness of life is expressed in the oneness of humanity, in all of our magnificent diversity, in all of our differences. There is an underlying connection. And the more that we can really feel and sense that connection, that oneness, the more that we can engage in this dual trajectory in life, a world that works for everyone and a life that works for me, mutually as supportive as opposed to feeling like we have to pick one or the other. So this comes from the monthly article that I wrote for this month. We rise through connection. If we have seen and learned nothing else from 2020, it is how connected we truly are. The internet, social media, and Zoom are providing a great physical metaphor for connection, while the global nature of the pandemic has shown us that every one of us affects everyone else. Yet it is in our connection through the oneness of spirit that we raise above the turmoil into spiritual awareness. And it is our connection to each other and to our community that we raise above isolation and loneliness into a deeper sense of belonging. Do you see that when I can feel my oneness and belonging in the universe, it's so much easier for me to realize that you're part of that whole too. And when I can see that everyone is part of one human global family, it reminds me that I too am part of the one. These two things are this beautiful dance. Wherever we can embrace this oneness and sense it and feel it as the truth of our being, it grows our ability to see and feel it everywhere. And in that place of connection, we rise above the divisiveness. We rise above our sense of otherness. We rise out of our sense of not belonging, not being a part of something. And we rise into that greater sense of who we really are, which, of course, unlocks our creativity and our co-creation with life. And we see that, yes, actually, we're not just co-creating our own lives. We are, in fact, a part of co-creating the life of all of us and the life of the planet, which means that we become a blessing. We become a blessing in our families, in our workplaces. We become a blessing on the planet because we are rising above that old ideas about how all that works. And we're finding new vision, new creative solutions, new creative possibilities that allow us to rise into a new idea about life as a whole. Because we know who we are and we know who others are, this sense of connection really rises us into a deeper, higher, fuller, richer experience, not only of life, but of the very spiritual awakening that we seek. So I want to close with a couple of poems here from my favorite poem, Hafiz. Hafiz, a crazy whirling dervish, poet. And so I want to start out with this. Several times in the last week, this is entitled. Ever since happiness heard your name, it has been running through the streets, trying to find you. And several times in the last week, God itself has even come to my door, asking me for your address. Once I said, God, I thought you knew everything. Why are you asking me where your lovers live? And the beloved replied, well, indeed, Hafiz, I do know everything. But it is fun playing dumb once in a while, and I love intimate chats and the warmth of your heart's fire. Maybe we should make this poem into a song. I think it has potential. How does this refrain sound? For I know it is the truth. Ever since happiness heard your name, it has been running through the streets trying to find you. And several times in the last week, God itself has come to my door, so sweetly asking for your address, wanting the beautiful warmth of your heart's fire. Do you see? That's the connection. The recognition that our heart's fire is, in fact, the place where the beloved is seeking to express as us. And it is literally chasing us, knocking, knocking, knocking always at that inner door. And as we open that space to experience our oneness with Source, we create a space for that connection that changes everything. Cast all your votes for dancing. I know the voice of depression still calls to you. I know those habits that can ruin your life still send their invitations. But you are with a friend now and look so much stronger. You can stay that way and even bloom. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companion's beautiful laughter. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from the sacred hands and glance of your beloved. And, my dear, from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure, but then drag you for days like a broken man behind a farting camel. You are with a friend now. Learn what actions of yours delight spirit. What actions of yours bring freedom and love. Whenever you say God's name, dear pilgrim, my ears wish my head was missing so they could finally kiss each other and applaud all your nourishing wisdom. Oh, keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companion's beautiful laughter, and from the most insignificant movement of your own holy body. Now, sweet one, be wise. Cast all your votes for dancing. This week I invite you to dance in the oneness. Dance with your creativity. Dance with being and becoming. And together we rise.